If you're ready to truly live more, laugh more, and love more, I am so excited you're here for this incredible Part 3 episode with Chelsea Handler, who opens up in ways you've never seen her open up before and shares things she's never shared before. If you're ready to build the courage to be more bold, confident, and free, get what you want in life, and step into your purpose, today we dive into the power of being your authentic self, finding your freedom by releasing your past and not giving a damn what other people think, and how to truly be who you are and know that the people who are for you will find you and will like you. Get ready to laugh, cry, and live, laugh, and love more in your life today. I am so excited for this amazing conversation with you, me, and Chelsea. One of the things you talk about was about a story about your ex Ted and having threesomes, and
he loves
and so I'm curious: have you had a lot of threesomes in your life? And also, what about foursomes or fivesomes?
I've had a few threesomes. I find it very sexy. I mean, I'm definitely open to doing it again. I like adventure, you know?
Does it matter if the proportion of men and women in it?
People always think that I'm going to become a lesbian at some point. They're always like, will you come on over, Chelsea? Well, I have someone that I'm seeing now that I'm very attracted to and that I like having sex with. And so that's a really good, nice little thing I have going.
Is it a serious relationship?
I don't think any relationships that I've been in are serious. I don't think of myself as a relationship person. I think of myself as a purpose person. Like, my purpose is here to be here to have conversations like the one we're having right now, to infuse people with optimism, to be there for women. That is my purpose in this life. Any man that's in my life is not the main character. I wasn't embracing myself in the way that I am now. I was unsure of myself. I was insecure about many of the things. I wasn't sure if I even was supposed to be a public person anymore. Will I be okay without this man? And the answer was a resounding yes, you will. You might even be better. I've only had threesomes with this one woman. She was a masseuse with my ex-boyfriend, and we had threesomes with her several times. Then I hooked up with her a couple times on my own.
Yeah.
And then with my next boyfriend, we also had a threesome with her. But then I lost her number, and I don't know where she went, but I would love for her to get back in touch with me. Maybe she'll hear that. My number's still the same, so text me.
Okay, same masseuse, different relationship.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Was she also a great masseuse too? Yeah. 91% of girls and women literally will opt out of meaningful activities when they don't like how they look or their body. And it's such a thing. And I think about, even in my own life, for decades, the amount of experience that I missed out on because I was like self-conscious.
Yes,
I think about,
I know what
have
you
you
mean.
ever dealt with body image?
I've done the same thing in my 20s. I would weigh myself 15 times a day. I would stop. If I weighed a certain amount, I wouldn't go out that night. I would exercise. I would run for 2 hours on the beach and then come back and weigh myself to see how much water weight I lost. Such a waste. I've wasted so many hours about my body image, so many. And I hate that every woman in this world deals with that. I don't know how you get out of that. I think, obviously.
Are you out of it now? You were at a dinner party with Woody Allen and what you refer to as his daughter bride. Can you share what you asked?
Yeah, I when he got his blackberry cobbler at the very end of dinner during our dessert, he took a bite of it, put it into his mouth, and I leaned in as he was chewing on it to him and Soon-Yi and said, "So how did you two meet?"
And what did they say back? So many people, especially adults, feel like they don't know how to have fun anymore. And they think maybe they're funny, but they're not sure if they're funny. And so I'm curious from one of the funniest people on the planet, how, this is for everyone listening, Chelsea, how can we all tap into our funny and be more funny and have more fun?
I think the first step into having more fun is to be joyful is so imperative for mental health. Like to just, you don't have to be funny, but you have to have fun. I don't take myself seriously anymore. I used to get so mad. And I think that's the first step of being joyful.
How all of us right now, every person listening, every person watching, can just sort of like, I'm not going to take myself so seriously, because when I hear those words, it sounds like freedom.
Because once you settle into who you really are, and we all have that, we all have like the essence of who we are, the truest, best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
Once we allow that person to come through, there is no more room for trying to make an impression, trying to get someone to like you, trying. That is futile.
Yeah.
The only way you really get people to like you is by being who you are, because people are going to like you. People are going to dislike you, and people are going to like you. Both of those things can be true, and both of those things will happen. And that's great. Go where the light is. Go to the people that like you, stay there, surround yourself with those people, and then you will just keep adding to that crew. Who you are is good enough.
Yeah.
It really is. For everybody, just be who you are, and you're gonna be rewarded for that. And then you take out all that chatter. Me skiing down a mountain with a joint in one hand, a margarita in the other. Sometimes I have my dogs on me, sometimes I don't. In a bikini is exactly who I wanted to be when I grew up.
The impact you have on so many people in your family, outside of your family, people that have worked for you, people that are your friends. It's really inspiring. Oh my gosh.
No wonder you're so successful. You're such an incredible interviewer. You really are. A great interview. So nice. It made me think about my interviews on my podcast. I'm like, I really need to get more prepared.
You know, I've never done an edible. So if I ever do an edible
You call me, sister.
in my life,
Here
I'm
to guide
calling
you.
you.
Jamie Kern Lima is her name.
Everybody needs Jamie Kern Lima in their life.
Jamie Kern Lima.
Jamie, you're so inspiring.
Jamie Kern Lima.
I've had a few threesomes. Yeah, I find it very sexy. I find that very sexy. As long as you're in a trusting dynamic with your partner, bringing a third person in, I think can be a lot of fun. But you have to be able to trust each other and do that. And yeah, I think about that. I mean, I'm definitely open to doing it again. So it was always a good, it's kind of like drugs for me. Like I like adventure, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm always open to more adventure.
Does it matter if the proportion of men and women in it?
It has to be a woman. I don't want to have sex with two men at the same time. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah.
That's not been a fantasy of mine. But I do like seeing a man, you know, be like a man that I'm with being sexual with another woman when it's in front of me. Like I find that very sexy.
Yeah. What about two women? So three women.
3 women together?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I would be into that. Women are always safe, you know? Like I find women to be more safe than men, obviously. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, I would, I mean, I don't think I'm, you know, like I would be with a woman in a relationship. I'm not there, but I would be sexual with a woman.
Do you think you ever would be with a woman in a relationship?
I don't know. I mean, people always think that I'm going to become a lesbian at some point. They're always like, well, you come on over, Chelsea. We know you're coming. Come over to the other side, like all my lesbian friends. But it's never happened thus far. So I don't know. I wouldn't rule anything out, but I am very attracted to men. You know, I mean, it gets harder and harder, but but you know, I have someone that I'm seeing now that I'm very attracted to and that I like having sex with, and so that's a really good, nice little thing I have going.
Is it a serious relationship?
I don't think any relationships that I've been in are serious. I don't think of myself as a relationship person. I think of myself as a purpose person. Like my purpose is here to be here to have conversations like the one we're having right now, to infuse people with optimism, to be there for women. That is my purpose on in this life. Whether there are more lives or not, I really don't have a strong opinion on that either. All I know is I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and any man that's in my life is not the main character. That's a side relationship, and I love them and I want to respect everybody, but that's not my main MO in life. I'm not that kind of person.
How long have you guys been in a relationship, your current one?
Probably 9 months.
hmm when you ended your relationship with Joe Coy, so many people cared so much about it because I think for you, you had shared about how you were being loved, being treated,
Yeah.
how it was very different for you in that particular relationship, and how it sort of changed for you what you maybe felt would be possible in a loving relationship in different ways. And I think in your last Netflix special, I know you have another one coming out. Everyone's gotta
Next
gotta
month.
watch
The next
it.
month.
Yes. It ended with a little note on the screen saying, I believe love is, possible. And you talked about that, kind of giving everyone hope as well, like you do. Because there's people that, like I mentioned, living vicariously through you in the book in so many different ways. But also there's people then that want to, borrow that hope of, oh, wow, okay, I can find someone who loves me well and all of that. And I know when you ended it with Joe Coy, you said that you weren't going to lose yourself, to or sacrifice yourself to be in a relationship. And now in the one you're in, do you feel like you have love at that level, that kind of, I guess, level that you kind of shared was newer for you?
Yes, and I think it's about the choices we make. My relationship with him, I was so I w- he I started dating Joe when I was at a point in my life where I was in a confusing time. I wasn't embracing myself in the way that I am now. I was unsure of myself. I was insecure about many of the things. I wasn't sure if I even was supposed to be a public person anymore, if anyone cared about whether or not I contributed anything more creatively. Um, and he came into my life, and it's very clear to me now why he came in to pick me up and boost me up and remind me of who I am and remind me of what my talents are and what my purpose is and what I'm good at. Instead of forgetting, I was a little bit lost. And so he kind of picked me up and reminded me of all of the things I had forgotten about myself. And in doing so, loved me, adored me, was just so sweet and everything. And when we had to break up, I had to think about, like, am I still allowed to be in this more elevated position that where I was, as opposed to the position he found me in, right? When we got together. Am I still allowed to be here where he brought me without him as my partner? And the answer was yes. I'm here by way of you, not because of you. You didn't create me. You picked me up when I was down. And I will always be grateful for that. And it's a reminder to women everywhere, that relationship, I didn't want to break up with him. I didn't want to. I felt like I had no choice. I had to protect myself in a way that he was asking things of me that were compromising. And I remember, like, am I going to be okay without him? We were so public and it was so much attention and it was so positive. Will I be okay without this man? And the answer was a resounding yes, you will. You might even be better. So
What was he asking that was compromising?
just what his ideas of a relationship were and the expectations he had of me. And a lot of them were really old-fashioned and outdated. And I was never going to sublimate myself in a way where I was, being asked to do things that I wasn't comfortable with. I'm a very strong, independent woman. I like to be alone, as we've mentioned. And he wanted more than I was, than I had to give. I didn't have the bandwidth. Conversely, to the relationship I'm in now, I have the freedom to be myself. I have the freedom to go about my life. And that's why we're still together.
I love what you said too about like that moment of I didn't want to break up, and those thoughts of will I be, you know, worse off if I do, and all these kind of things. Because I think so many people have those thoughts all the time. It's why they stay in relationships where they know something's off, or they stay, like I mentioned earlier, in friendships where they're like, I just don't feel like this person. You know what I mean? Is like energy is contagious, and sometimes you are around someone and you're just like, I just feel my vibration low, or I feel like I feel, and so I think sharing what you shared is really powerful, because for a lot of people it's also hard to leave when you know someone loves you, and when you feel wanted, and when you feel all those things and like cherished and celebrated in different ways, but when it's that person's version of that, and it like comes at the price of you living your own truth or having to change that. That's so brave. That's so brave to do that. So your current relationship, do you have threesomes yet?
No, we have not had a threesome.
Not yet.
Although I do mention it once in a while. I'll be
Do
honest.
you?
Yes. I'm like, you know what we should do? Yeah.
When you said too that you've done, it's your book, by the way. Oh my gosh, I'm only giving away like 0.001% of the stuff in it that is so good, so funny, so laugh out loud, so also live vicariously through an experience. Like I feel like somehow in my life now I need to be in a kayak in Mallorca and all the things. Like you just, and I won't even say all the reasons why. You have to read the book. I'll have what she's having.
I've only had threesomes with, no. There was some couple when I was in my early 20s. I had a threesome with a couple. That wasn't very successful, though. That was kind of awkward. I've only had threesomes with this one woman. She was a masseuse with my ex-boyfriend. And we had threesomes with her several times. Then I hooked up with her a couple times on my own.
Yeah.
And then with my next boyfriend, we also had a threesome with her. But then I lost her number, and I don't know where she went. But I would love for her to get back in touch with me. Maybe she'll hear that. My number's still the same. So text me.
Okay, same masseuse, different relationship.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Was she also a great masseuse too?
Yes.
Not just masseuse with benefits. Great. Wow.
Yes.
All right. Are you okay? So I have to ask you. So, you were at a dinner party with Woody Allen, and what you refer to as his daughter bride, and the whole dinner party goes on and on all the courses, and at the very end, and you were cordial, all the conversation, normal conversation. At the very end, I think it was the dessert round. Can you share what you asked?
Yeah, I I was sitting next to Katie Couric, and I was apoplectic that I was at a dinner with Woody Allen. Like, I didn't know he was going to be there. I didn't know anyone who was going to be there except for Katie. And I went with Katie Couric. And so when I saw him walk through the door, I was like, this isn't going to go well. Like, I am a confrontational person, especially at that time. This was way before therapy. And I was like, I'm going to call him out. Like, there's just no way. And she's like, is there any way you can wait? I'm like, for what? And she's like, just wait, like to end until the end of the dinner, maybe. And I was like, oh, I've never tried that. I could try, sure, why not? Like, it was a fun challenge, so I did. And then I waited and waited because I wasn't going to let him not hear from me. Like,
And he was there with
Sunyi. They were sitting right across from me. And when he got his blackberry cobbler at the very end of dinner during our dessert, he took a bite of it, put it into his mouth, and I leaned in as he was chewing on it to him and Sunyi and said, so how did you two meet? And Katie Couric, I think she once told a story that I forgot. I'm like, forgot? I was like, that's exactly what I meant. Like, I forgot how they met. Like, I had, misspoke. I'm like, no. That was very intentional. Like, I said that on purpose.
Yeah, that's kind of like the most poignant thing to say. And what did they say back?
Well, I don't know. Sunyi Previn, I don't know what her story was. I was more honed in on him, and
Yeah.
he choked and laughed and almost spit his blackberry cobbler out. There was something along those lines, but that was the last thing I said. And then I was like, okay, time to go.
Did he say anything at all? Do you think he knew that you knew and were being really, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
of course.
And did he say anything back, or he just kind
No,
of like
it was
choked
just
and
kind of, I wasn't interested in his response anyway. I had to make sure that I left that party and everyone knew where I stood. Do you know what I mean?
Huh?
Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't going to be like, oh no, I just had dinner with Woody Allen and was one of these sycophants. And, no.
How did Katie react when you?
She was like, it's time to go. She was just like, oh God, here goes Chelsea's about to do one of her, I was going to sound off, but I wasn't.
Did the whole dinner part, like, did everyone hear it at the table?
I don't remember if everyone heard it. I was so laser focused on when the right time to say that sentence was.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't not wait. I was like, okay, hold on. Here we go. We're at the bottom of the ninth. This is my move. I was like, I'm going to get him, before I leave, I'm going to say something. I had to say something as a woman.
So, okay. So many, you look at all the studies out there that say that, when you're exposed to humor and laughter and positivity, it has such profound effects on mental health, physical health, all of it. Yet so many people, especially adults, feel like they don't know how to have fun anymore. And they think maybe they're funny, but they're not sure if they're funny. And so I'm curious, from one of the funniest people on the planet, this is for everyone listening, Chelsea, how can we all tap into our funny and be more funny and have more fun? There's so much more coming up in this episode. You are not going to want to miss it. But first, I wanted to share this with you. In life, you don't soar to the level of your hopes and dreams. You stay stuck at the level of your self-worth. When you build your self-worth, you change your entire life. And that's exactly why I wrote my new book, Worthy: How to Believe You Are Enough and Transform Your Life for You. If you have some self-doubt to destroy and a destiny to fulfill, Worthy is for you. In Worthy, you'll learn proven tools and simple steps that bring life-changing results, like how to get unstuck from the things holding you back, build unshakable self-love, unlearn the lies that lead to self-doubt, and embrace the truths that wake up worthiness, overcome limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome, achieve your hopes and dreams by believing you are worthy of them, and so much more. Are you ready to unleash your greatness and step into the person you were born to be? Imagine a life with zero self-doubt and unshakable self-worth. Get your copy of Worthy, plus some amazing thank you bonus gifts for you at worthybook.com or the link in the show notes below. Imagine what you'd do if you fully believed in you. It's time to find out with Worthy. Imagine, what would you do if you fully believed in you? My weekly free inspirational newsletter is packed with tips and tools to help you find out. It's called One-on-One with Jamie, and it's delivered right to your inbox each Tuesday morning. It's a love letter from me to you, from my soul to yours, and I hope it brings you the words and messages you need at just the right moment. Plus, when you're a part of my free inspirational newsletter community, you'll be the first to get behind-the-scenes content, inspirational messages, and be the first to learn about upcoming events and more. It's the place to be, and I sure hope you'll join me there. So if you're not on the list yet, you can sign up for free at jamiekernlima.com or click the link in the show notes below. And here's to becoming unstoppable together. And now, more of this incredible conversation together. How can we all tap into our funny and be more funny and have more fun?
I think the first step into having more fun is to stop taking yourself so seriously. Like, we're human beings. So there's a lot of mistakes and there's a lot of embarrassment and there's a lot of like shame.
Yeah.
And you can choose to take that in, or you can choose to like literally physically think about it running like water off of a duck's back. Like I sometimes physically, if I hear something about myself that's icky, or I read something about myself that I don't like, I always am just like, I imagine water physically running down my back and falling off me. Like, it's not my problem. That's okay. And to be joyful is so imperative for mental health. Like, you don't have to be funny, but you have to have fun. You know, you don't have to be the person who makes the joke or is clever but you have to be able to be able to a person who appreciates that and is infected by it, you know, and like, oh, I like that. I like the way that makes me feel. I want to make people feel that way. And to know that like you're a human being that makes mistakes. Self-effacement is the name of my game. I always start with myself before I talk about others. I'm the first one to talk about how mindless I am. I mean, I can barely, there's not many things I can do around technology or for myself. You know, I've kind of built this life where a lot of things are done for me, but I never take that seriously like I used to. Like, if I don't get upset when I can't work something or I can't do something. I'm like, oh, well, I think this is exactly how you wanted your life to be. You know, you wanted everyone to do things for you. And now here you are and you can't even turn a TV on. Like, like I don't take myself seriously anymore. I used to get so mad. And I think that's the first step of being joyful is to understand, like, you're not perfect. You can constantly get better. And joyfulness is kind of the one thing that, like, you know, no one can really take from you.
Like they can't take your power away because you decide
Yeah.
how you're going to feel or the meaning you're going to attach to everything.
Yeah.
Right? Like you
Yeah.
can't figure out technology. Well, what's the meaning you're going to attach to that?
Yeah.
Or someone says something bad or some hater online or this or that, which every one of us now, the person that used to be a teacher or a doctor and they never had to deal with public opinions, now everyone is online saying everything about anybody and everything. So now they're having to kind of deal with that too. I think everyone feels like now they have critics or people this or that. And so the example or the analogy you gave, water off a duck's back, because water just flows off the feathers, right? It doesn't stick to them. That's so beautiful. So you're able to just do that and be like, you're not taking my joy.
Like, you know, people who get road rage.
Yes.
You see people in their
Yes.
cars, like it's so embarrassing. Like, are
Yeah.
you seriously getting mad at somebody else for their driving? Like, why are you wasting your joy on that? You just gave away joy. Like,
Yeah.
you're choosing anger. You're choosing to be angry over something that you have no control over. Like, I remember someone once sent a picture to me of me. I was furiously texting like an agent or a manager at some point. And, you know, like angry texting where you're like,
Yeah.
And my assistant at the time sent me the picture. And I just went, oh, like, what are you doing? What are you doing sending emails like that and texts like that with that kind of energy, transmitting anger? And what are you doing? There's a million ways to say everything. Find the nicest way, the gentlest way. You can still be firm and stand up for yourself with grace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be, oh, I'm a powerful, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. Like, all of that stuff is a choice. So, you know, I like when I see people with like road rage, or if I see someone, you know, getting mad at a server or a flight attendant, I'm like, you've lost the plot. Like, if you're really upset, like if your flight gets delayed and it's 9 hours and you're stuck at the airport, you can choose to have a great time at that airport.
Yeah.
You can choose that. Or you can be a baby and cry about it for 5 or 6 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course, there are extenuating circumstances. If you're trying to get home to a loved one who's sick or something like that, of course, I understand that. But really, in the grand scheme of things, take whatever things that don't go your way and turn them into something that does.
And something you said just now too about not taking yourself so seriously, I think that's a big thing because so many of us are like, oh, what is that person going to think? Or how did that make me look? Or this or that.
Yes.
How did you ski naked? Like you ski down the hill and for your birthday and like all the things. How, have you always like not taken yourself so seriously? Or has this been like a progression? And like, what are some tips on how all of us right now, every person listening, every person watching, can just sort of like, I'm not going to take myself so seriously because when I hear those words, it sounds like freedom.
Because once you settle into who you really are, and we all have that, we all have like the essence of who we are, the truest, best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
Once we allow that person to come through, there is no more room for trying to make an impression, trying to get someone to like you, trying. That is futile.
Yeah.
The only way you really get people to like you is by being who you are, because people are going to like you. Yeah. People are going to dislike you, and people are going to like you. Both of those things can be true, and both of those things will happen. And that's great. Go where the light is. Go to the people that like you. Stay there. Surround yourself with those people. And then you will just keep adding to that crew of love in your life. You don't focus on the haters. You don't focus on the negativity. And you don't focus on thinking about did I say the wrong thing? Did it? No, all of that energy, it doesn't get you anything. It just gets you circular thoughts and negative thoughts about yourself. And you just have to remember who you are is good enough.
Yeah.
It really is for everybody. Just be who you are, and you're going to be rewarded for that. And then you take out all that chatter.
Yeah.
You know,
when you, speaking of skiing, when you have sort of a tradition, is it on your birthday? You'll ski in a bikini down.
Yeah.
Is it Whistler typically?
Whistler. Sometimes I've been topless. Yeah. Usually the last couple of years, because I have nieces and nephews who pointedly said, can you please not be topless on, and I was like, yeah, you know what? You bring up a good point. You know, it is slightly vulgar, but it's not vulgar, you know, like it's freeing. It's freeing. Like I understand where they're coming from, but you know, so anyway, so I think the last few years I have worn a top, and then I think that, that's something like, you know, to me, is the essence of who I am. Me skiing down a mountain with a joint in one hand, a margarita in the other. Sometimes I have my dogs on me. Sometimes I don't. In a bikini is exactly who I wanted to be when I grew up.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever, when it comes to body, you know, you mentioned the comment your aunt made, but also, you know, you look at the data, it's like 91% of girls and women literally will opt out of meaningful activities when they don't like how they look or their body.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a thing. And I think about even in my own life for decades, the amount of experience that I missed out on because I was like self-conscious.
Yes,
I think about,
I know what
have
you
you
mean.
ever dealt with body image stuff?
Oh, yes, of course. I'm a woman. I mean, I don't know how to, of course. I've done the same thing in my 20s. I would weigh myself 15 times a day. I would stop. If I weighed a certain amount, I wouldn't go out that night. I would exercise. I would run for 2 hours on the beach and then come back and weigh myself to see how much water weight I lost. Such a waste. I've wasted so many hours about my body image, so many. And I hate that every woman in this world deals with that. You know, I hate that our society hasn't embraced, even though, you know, we're beginning the conversations, it's going to take another 1,000 years for girls to understand, like, everyone is different. You all have different parts. So yes, I am a victim of the very same thing. And it is, I don't know what the answer to that is. I don't know how you get out of that. I think, obviously.
Are you out of it now?
Yeah, to a degree, but I still care. I still care about what I look like in a bathing suit. I'm much more freer about the fact that I do have cellulite and it's not shameful. Like, but I also take really good care of myself because I want to look, my strongest and my healthiest. I want to be powerful. Like I lift weights because I want to be strong and I want to be able to ski like a badass. Like I train all the time because I want to be strong for skiing. And I also want to look good. And I'm not somebody that you can excise from that argument and say that I don't feel that way. I do. I do care about the way I look, and I wish we had an answer, but I don't have the answer for that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So many people called this younger generation, like in their 20s or 30s, the snowflake generation. They say like they're offended by everything, or they don't want to work hard, or you touch them and they melt, kind of a thing. Do you think that's true? And do you think people get offended too easy right now that we're in that?
I'm not gonna say people get offended too easily because it's not really anyone's decision what offends another person.
Yeah.
I think it's great information to understand why people are offended. I think that's great information as a comedian
Yeah.
who has offended many people in my career and on my shows to learn parameters and boundaries and sensitivities that people have is a very useful tool in making me a sharper comedian, not a less sharp comedian. Nobody's taking away funny. You have to be more clever about your jokes. If you don't want to offend people, I don't want to offend people. I want to, I don't care about, offending most Republicans, but the people that I think are inherent, like if you tell me that this is hurtful to me, then I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? I find that to be very useful information. I don't find that to be a limit to my comedy.
Yeah.
It's actually enhanced my comedy because I've had to rise up.
The dimensions of you that you have shared in your book and also that you've shared today are so inspiring and just so multidimensional and so powerful. And, I want to read something. You say, I am here for women. That is my purpose. I'm here to lift, to inspire, and to listen. There is not a woman in need that I wouldn't try to help pull out of whatever hole she's in to help lift her up. I'm here for every member of LGBTQ community and for any person who doesn't feel seen. I am here for the underdogs, and I'm here to demonstrate compassion, empathy, and love. I feel so deeply all those things in you, and it's really, really cool to have a conversation like this with you. I read something you mentioned about, I haven't gone to college, but I've sent 50 others to college. What do you mean by that?
College funds, creating college funds for lots of people, strangers, people I do know, people who've worked for me, my family members, people I'll never meet.
Yeah.
People who will never know I sent them to college.
Yeah.
That feels really good.
There's so much you do that's such a gift to highlight. Also, in this conversation, also in your book, reading the story about oopsie, whoopsie, and poopsie, like the impact you have on so many people in your family, outside of your family, people that have worked for you, people that are your friends. It's really inspiring. And I think that I just want to honor that and celebrate that. I literally could not put your book down, read it cover to cover, the stories that just like living vicariously. I've never done an edible. So if I ever do an edible
You call me, sister.
in my life, I'm calling you if I ever do one. But a few rapid fire questions. What's your favorite book of all time?
Oh, that's a good question.
I know you're a reader.
I know.
Your whole life. Yeah.
I'm going to say 2.
Okay.
House of Mirth by Edith Wharton.
Yeah.
I think that is just the best kind of sociological study or demonstration of human beings in modern society, and timeless. And then the book I mentioned earlier, Letting Go, because that transformed my life. And I think, and I've heard back from so many people who I've recommended the book to, how it's transformed them and their lives. And that, so those 2.
Favorite joke of all time?
My favorite joke, I guess the Woody Allen. It wasn't a joke, but that's my favorite story.
Favorite lover of all time?
Lover?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Who's my favorite lover? I'll have to say the current one.
Okay.
Yeah, whoever I'm with is going to be my favorite.
It's so funny. My guess is going to be you're going to say yourself.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess that would be a good answer too.
By the way, anyone who needs some good lover experiences, like stories, want to live vicariously through, maybe you've been in a relationship forever, you need to mix it up a little bit, you've got to read I'll Have What She's Having, just for that alone. Okay, favorite drug of all time?
Pot is my favorite drug.
Favorite quote or prayer?
It doesn't matter how many people say no. All you need is one person to say yes.
Yeah. And your greatest life lesson learned so far?
To have gratitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that so congruently. I am so grateful for this conversation. I'm grateful for the person you are, for what you put out in the world, like for all that you do to help so many people. And a lot of people see the stuff you do, and a lot of people have no idea how much that you do. Everyone listening right now, go out and buy I'll Have What She's Having, which will be Chelsea Handler's 7th New York Times bestseller in a row. And when that happens, y'all, she has written 6 New York Times bestsellers before this one. When things like that happen, it is never an accident. It's because they're really, really good and people get a lot of value out of the book. And that is what happened to me reading this book. So definitely go buy her book. You can also see her at her residency in Las Vegas at the Cosmopolitan. You can get tickets right now at chelseahandler.com. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful.
Oh my God, what a delightful conversation. I had such a good time with you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
If you loved today's episode, my only ask is that you please click the follow or subscribe button for the show on your app and give it a 5-star rating or review, and then share this episode with everyone you believe in. Share it with another person in your life who could benefit from it. Post it and share it with others online or in your community who just might need the words and tools and lessons in this episode today. You never know whose life you're meant to change today by sharing this episode. And thank you so much for joining me today. Before you go, I want to share some words with you that couldn't be more true. You, right now, exactly as you are enough and fully worthy. You're worthy of your greatest hopes, your wildest dreams, and all the unconditional love in the world. And it's an honor to welcome you to each and every episode of the Jamie Kern Lima Show. Here, I hope you'll come as you are. Heal where you need. Blossom what you choose. Journey toward your calling and stay as long as you'd like, because you belong here. You are worthy. You are loved. You are love. And I love you. And I cannot wait to join you on the next episode of the Jamie Kern Lima Show. Do you struggle with negative self-talk? Living with a constant mental narrative that you're not good enough is exhausting. I know because I spent most of my life in that habit. The words you say to yourself about yourself are so powerful. And when you learn to take control over your self-talk, it's life-changing. And I wanted to give you a free resource that I created for you if this is something that could benefit your life. It's called 5 Ways to Overcome Negative Self-Talk and Build Self-Love. And it's a free how-to guide to overcome that negative self-talk, to build confidence and develop unshakable self-love so that you can dream big and keep going in the pursuit of your goals. Don't let self-sabotaging thoughts hinder your progress any longer. It's time to rewrite the script of your life, one filled with self-love, resilience, and unwavering belief. If you're ready to take charge of your narrative, build unwavering confidence, and empower yourself to persevere on the path to your dreams, you can grab your free guide to stop overthinking and learn to trust yourself at jamiekernlima.com/resources, or click the link in the show notes below. Who you spend time around is so important, as energy is contagious, and so is self-belief. And I'd love to hang out with you even more, especially if you could use an extra dose of inspiration, which is exactly why I've created my free weekly newsletter that's also a love letter to you, delivered straight to your inbox from me. If you haven't signed up to make sure that you get it each week, just go to jamiekernlima.com to make sure you're on the list, and you'll get your One-on-One with Jamie weekly newsletter and get ready to believe in you. If you're tired of hearing the bad news every single day and need some inspiration, some tips, tools, joy, and love hitting your inbox, I'm your girl. Subscribe at jamiekernlima.com or in the link in the show notes.
I am so excited for this book. You know why? Because it's going to save so many people. It's going to save people. Worthy. Your new beautiful book, Worthy.
Get this book.
This book, I'm telling you, it's a book that can change anybody's life who picks it up. Anybody who's ever felt that they were not good enough, didn't measure up, something's missing in your life. I have to tell you, it's powerful. It's happening. It's worthy.
Imagine, what would you do if you fully believed in you? I went from struggling waitress facing nonstop rejection to founder of IT Cosmetics, a billion-dollar company, by learning how to overcome self-doubt and believe I am worthy of my hopes and dreams. And I'm sharing how you can too in my new book, Worthy, How to Believe You Are Enough and Transform Your Life. If you're ready to truly trust yourself and break through that barrier of self-doubt, and know that where you come from, or even where you are right now, doesn't determine where you're going, then Worthy is for you. It's time to go from doubting you're enough to knowing you're enough. It's time to step into all of who you are and into the person you were born to be. And it's time to believe that you are worthy of it. Because in life, we don't become what we want. We become what we believe we're worthy of. Join the Worthy movement today by grabbing your copy of Worthy anywhere books are sold. Then head to worthybook.com now for free gifts, including my 5-part course on becoming unstoppable and my 95-page Worthy Workbook action plan that teaches you how to implement the tools from the book into your real life right now.
Worthy is groundbreaking.
Yo, my God! Worthy, you are worthy.
This book is going to change lives.
This book literally will teach you how to actually feel worthy so that you can have the strength, you can have the confidence.
The lessons in this book and the strategies will change your life. You will never be the same again after you read this book.
Jamie's book, Worthy, is a must-read. It is going to inspire you, empower you, give you the hope that you need and the kick in the rear end that you deserve.
Jamie's book, Worthy, is incredible.
The gifts are going away, but they're all free right now on worthybook.com. It's such an honor to share this podcast together with you. And please note, I'm not a licensed therapist, and this podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional. If you love this incredible episode with Chelsea Handler, I promise you, you're also going to love this life-changing episode of the Jamie Kern Lima Show right here. It's up next just for you.